I like using an external monitor as much as I can because it makes it so much easier to compose, expose, and see what I'm doing in general. And I've got great monitors for that, like the Atomos Ninja V, Blackmagic Video Assist, and the Shimbol Memory 1. But sometimes I wish they were wireless, like when I need a director's monitor or when using a gimbal. Well, that's where the Shimbol ZO1000 and ZO600MS come in. These devices can do so much, and I just love wireless stuff. Don't you? Let's talk about it. If you're new here, I'm Sebastian and welcome to the channel. Let's do a quick overview of what these devices can do, starting with the ZO600MS. It's an external monitor with wireless capabilities that can be connected to a camera via HDMI and SDI. It comes in a nice box with an HDMI cable, SDI cable, 5 antennas, of which one is a spare, a screen protector, and a monitor mount. Build quality is exceptional. It's all aluminium alloy and feels very solid. Even the antennas and connectors feel very solid. It can be powered by an MPF battery or via the 12-volt input. I reviewed the Shimbol Memory 1, and the ZO600MS features the same screen, tools and functionality as the Memory 1, even the ability to record to an SD card. If you want to learn more about the tools and monitoring features, you can watch my Memory 1 review. Spoiler alert, I was quite impressed with this monitor. I'll be focusing on the extra features of the 600MS in this video. So the 600MS has an extra trick up its sleeve because it can wirelessly transmit or receive a video feed. I'll talk more about that in a second. First, a quick overview of the ZO1000 wireless kit that Shimbol sent me as well, and can work in tandem with the 600MS. It's a wireless video transmitter and receiver kit with both HDMI and SDI inputs, and the same for the receiver outputs. Comes with, again, 5 antennas, of which one is a spare, and a USB-C cable. Build quality is good, but the buttons feel a bit cheap and the screen is nothing to write home about, but it's good enough for what it needs to do. Both the transmitter and receiver can be powered via either an MPF battery or USB-C with a power bank or V-mount battery. There are so many possible combinations with the ZO600MS and the ZO1000. The 600MS in transmitter mode can send a 1080p video feed out to any 2 receivers in the Shimbol wireless lineup, but can also, at the same time, send that same feed to 2 mobile Apple devices. So you could have the 600MS on your camera as your monitor, but have 2 people watching the same feed on their iPhone or iPad. I need to correct myself a little bit there, because although it can send out the video feed to 4 devices, 2 of those devices need to be a Shimbol 600MS, and then the other 2 devices can be mobile Apple devices. And when I was using the ZO1000 transmitter and the 600MS in receiver mode, I got it to work up to 3 devices. An iPad, an ZO1000 receiver, and the 600MS as a receiver. And if you don't have an Apple device, you could hook them up with the ZO1000 receiver connected to something like the Shimbol Memory 1, or, as I have it set up here, to the Blackmagic Video Assist, which is receiving the feed from my G9 that I'm filming on right now, and have the director or client watch the feed that way. But the 600MS can also act as a receiver, which makes it possible to do it the other way around as well. So in practical terms, that means that right now I'm filming this on my G9 that's connected to the ZO1000 transmitter. That feed is being received by the 600MS that I have here on my hands. I can place it anywhere I want, and use it to judge framing, focus, exposure, and check whether I look handsome enough. And as I just mentioned, it's sending that same feed to the ZO1000 receiver that's connected to my Blackmagic Video Assist, whilst also simultaneously sending that same feed to my iPhone. The 600MS is a dual-band transmitter receiver and has a range of about 300 meters when in line of sight. I tested it and that seems to be pretty accurate. Also, when it does lose connection, it very quickly re-establishes the connection once it's back in range. Within the wireless menu, you can select the input source and which transmitter you want it to receive the signal from when it's in receiver mode. In the system settings menu, you can select whether it acts like a receiver or a transmitter, and when it's in transmitter mode, you can select the quality of the video feed as well, where speed has the lowest latency, but also the lowest quality, and the quality setting, the highest latency, but also the highest quality video feed. The lowest latency is 0.08 seconds or 80 milliseconds, which is low enough for monitoring purposes, but I think for remote focus pulling, it's a bit too much, especially combined with the latency there already is over HDMI from the camera to the monitor. If you really need super low latency, you'll have to have a much higher budget anyway. The ZO1000 kit contains a transmitter and receiver. Not sure if this is also dual band, but I presume it is because it works with the 600MS. The transmitter can send a 1080p video feed to 2 Shimbol receivers and 2 mobile Apple devices at the same time, just like the 600MS, and also to the 600MS when it's set up as a receiver. The receiver can either receive from the ZO1000 transmitter or from the 600MS or any other Shimbol transmitter, and can also double as a capture card by connecting the USB-C port to a computer. It gets recognized as a webcam by basically any software. It's got a very simple menu interface where you can set channel and group, language, quality, and trigger settings. It can also display a QR code for easy wireless connection. Though not as sturdy as the antennas on the 600MS, I like that the antennas on the ZO1000 receiver and transmitter are adjustable. The range is the same as the 600MS, about 300 meters. They have a really low power consumption. In my testing, they would run up to a little over an hour on one of the smallest MPF style batteries, the 550. Or just use the USB-C port with a V-mount or power bank. The Shimbol app on either an iPhone or iPad, or both at the same time, gives you the same feed as with the dedicated receivers. The range, though, heavily depends on the Apple device you're using. In general, the range is less than with the dedicated receivers. This is due to the internal antennas of the Apple devices. Other than that, it works really well. It even has some monitoring features like focus peaking and zebras, but can also record the video feed onto the iPad or iPhone. It doesn't have LUT support though. I'd like to see that in an update. But what it does have though is the ability to live stream directly from within the app, which means that you can set up your camera with a ZO1000 or 600MS and have the video feed sent to the iPad wirelessly, which can then stream it to YouTube, for example, through the app. Now, I realize that not everyone needs this, but for my type of work, it's actually quite useful. I've used it as a director's monitor with the ZO1000 as the receiver connected to my Shimbol Memory 1, while I was using the 600MS on my GH6 as my monitor, set to transmitter mode. That way, I could operate the camera as usual without any extra devices, while the director was able to watch what I was doing from anywhere in the room. Another use case that more of you might find useful is when shooting with a gimbal. I always like to use an external monitor, even or especially when using a gimbal. But the HDMI cable is often in the way and limiting the movement of the gimbal. Now I can put the ZO1000 transmitter on the camera and the 600MS somewhere on the handle and monitor wirelessly. No cable going from the camera to the monitor. And what I found is that you don't need the antennas on the 600MS if the distance between the transmitter and receiver is so small. So that brings down the space needed to mount the 600MS as well. The live streaming capabilities via the Shimbol app I find to be useful as well. To me, the advantage of doing it wirelessly is having the freedom and flexibility of not having any cables between the camera setup and the streaming device, whilst still being able to monitor the feed and having the USB-C port free to charge the iPad. Especially when streaming from an outdoor or in the field location, or when the camera needs to be moving and is being operated by someone else. I've got several options now to make like an in the field live stream possible, like this Shimbol system, the Axum CMO, or with the app for the Opswell Tail Air. Let me know if you'd be interested in me testing those options out by doing some actual live streams with them. The ZO600MS wireless monitor comes in at $519 and the ZO1000 kit at $499. I think if you're already looking for a decent external monitor with LUT support and all the monitoring tools you need, but you also want to send a video feed to a mobile Apple device, the 600MS is a really good option. And you can expand your wireless kit in the future by adding the ZO1000 kit as well. If you already have a good monitor, like a Ninja V or Shimbol Memory 1, and you wish it were wireless, the ZO1000 kit could be a great option. You can basically make any monitor wireless by connecting the transmitter to your camera and the receiver to whatever HDMI or SDI monitor you have. But if you're thinking of getting this for remote focus pulling, I'd look for something with less latency. Overall, I think this is a high-quality wireless system. Reliable, great build quality, and very easy to use. Is it the best system for the price? I wouldn't be able to tell you, since this is the first wireless video transmission system I have ever used. But I can say that I haven't really found anything that doesn't work like it should. This video is not sponsored by Shimbol. They did send this to me for review, but didn't tell me what to say. I have affiliate links in the description. I would very much appreciate it if you'd purchase anything you're interested in through my affiliate links. It helps me and the channel out a lot. I hope this video was helpful. If so, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and maybe hit that notification bell. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.